Switch can work with DMX moving heads to produce fully automated light shows that are synchronized with the music. There's a lot to unpack here. The way this works requires a little bit of explanation, but if you're a DJ looking to elevate your accompanying light show in a way that's as hands-off as is convenient for you, or if you own or operate a venue that has DMX lighting, including moving heads, and want to create an even more memorable experience, this video is for you. If you haven't seen the prior video, Getting Started, I recommend you watch it first as it explains core concepts. And if you haven't yet seen the prior video, Synchronizing Lights with Music, I recommend you watch that as well before proceeding. It explains the concept of synchronizing lights with music with the help of a visualizer and mappings. Both videos are prerequisites to what follows. When it comes to moving heads, we control the light of the fixture in the same way we would with a smart bulb. However, moving heads afford us two new dimensions: pan and tilt. And so here's a unique strategy that can automatically include them in your light show. Detailed step-by-step instructions follow this high-level overview. Alright, so this whole thing is based on the following. We map pan to hue, and tilt to brightness. This alone produces some pretty interesting light shows, but if the visualizer is mostly all the same color, all of the lights will be pointing the same way. This is a common scenario, and I'd like more of an even spread. So, second, I'll utilize the rainbow filter. Given a color, the rainbow filter adds a number of degrees, depending on where the light's been mapped to and the value of the rainbow filter slider. Since pan has been mapped to hue, here it can be used to create an even spread. The same effect can be applied to tilt, but since we map tilt to brightness, we need to repeat using the Bribow filter. It's the same thing as rainbow, but for brightness. When a rainbow filter or a Bribow filter are placed after a visualizer filter, they'll supplement it. So now we have an even spread. But I'd also like continuous movement. The color oscillate filter continuously oscillates between adding 0 and 360 degrees at the rate set by the slider. This ensures that the moving heads are always moving. So, third, I'll add the color oscillate filter. Fast movement is great for periods of high energy, and slow movement is great for cooldown periods. The same effect can be applied to tilt with the Brightness Oscillate filter. Here's what they look like combined. And here's what they look like when a visualizer precedes them.
I'll find valid in your eyes. You'll always be my night sky.
And now, from the beginning, let's configure your DMX fixtures so you can complete the prior steps. Okay, here I'm working with 10 DMX moving heads. They're connected to this Windows PC through the ENTTEC Open DMX to USB adapter, which Switch will automatically detect. If I drill in, I can see all of the different DMX channels. First, I'll create a virtual light to represent the red channel across all fixtures. I'm going to type CR, press enter. And I'm going to drill in, and this fixture has its red channel on 4, on all the 4s. And I'm going to repeat for green. The green channel here is on the 5s. and then blue, and blue is on the 6s. And for pan, that is on the 1s, and I'm going to name this X. And tilt is on the 2s, and I'm going to name this Y. Okay, and these particular fixtures have a channel for mode, and it must be on full so that the lights are a solid color. So I'm going to create one more here and name it mode. And this is on the 3s. And lastly, I'm going to create one additional virtual light to aggregate the red, green, and blue channels. I'm just going to name this one C. So red, green, blue. At this point, if I turn on the mode filter to max and then turn on red to max, all of my lights should be red. Looks good. And now I'll check green. All right, looks good. And now blue. All right, looks good. And now pan. Okay, looks good. And lastly, tilt. Great. Okay, so now let's define mappings. For step 2, click Mappings. And the best way to do this is to put these windows side by side. And turn off all of the lights except red. Since I have 10 lights, I'm going to set this to 10 columns. And I'm going to set this to 5 rows. Now, the number of rows here is somewhat arbitrary, but note that this determines the area of the visualizer that is averaged. And if you average too big of an area, the lights are not going to react very much. However, if you have a very small area, they're going to overreact. And just one by one, I'm going to map these. And by the way, if you would like to see the impact of different size mappings without actually messing up your mappings, there are some filters that modify these. All right, that's red, and I'm going to repeat for green. And then blue. Okay, and then X. And lastly, Y. All right, great. We're done with mapping, so we can close this out. Step 3 is to open Edit Filters mode. And first, we will want to create a new group filter. This is, think of this as a folder. It's used to contain other filters. So I'm going to name this ENTTEC, press enter, and escape, and I'm going to drill in. For step 4, we're going to create a red, green, and blue filter. And if I get out of Edit Filters mode, I want to go to red and turn on the red filter all the way for the red light. I'm going to turn on the power too. I'm going to repeat this for the green filter and the green light. I'm also going to turn on the power here. And the same for blue. With the blue light, I'm going to turn this all the way up and turn on the power. So at this point, if I go up a level, I can see brightness, saturation, and hue again. And I should be able to set the brightness, saturation, and hue on the C light and have all of the lights react to that. With these particular fixtures, this mode has to be on. So now I'm seeing the brightness go up and down. I'm seeing the saturation change, so from white all the way to red. And same for hue. So right now the lights are blue, right now they're green, and now they're red. Okay, for step 5, I'm going to drill back into this new ENTTEC group filter. I'm going to click Edit to get back into Edit Filters mode, and I'm going to add a swap filter. I'm going to drag and drop it before the red, green, and blue filters. I'm going to exit Edit Filters mode. And for the X light, slide the slider until it indicates H to B. And what this does is swap the hue and brightness channels. Sometimes filter order matters, and this is a case where it does. For this X light, filters downstream that operate on brightness will now be operating on hue. Step 6. Let's go back into Edit Filters mode and add a Bribow filter after swap. And let's exit Edit Filters mode. In the beginning of the video, to achieve an even spread across pan and tilt, we used both the rainbow and Bribow filters. But now with the swap filter, both of them are in terms of brightness, so we just need Bribow. I'm going to slide this up to about 1, which is a full cycle. And there we go. Now we have our even spread. Step 7, let's go back into Edit Filters mode and add Brightness Oscillate. And just like Bribow, we're going to add this before the red filter. I'm going to exit Edit Filters mode, and I'm going to turn this on for pan. You might want this faster. That's about right. And also for tilt. Now, I like these to be very saturated. So I am going to have a step 8 here, and I'm going to add a minimum saturation filter. And like the others, I'm going to put this before the red filter. And I'm going to make this apply to only the color. So I think we'll want a min saturation of about 70%. And finally, I'm going to add a step 9 in here and add a smoothness filter. So the smoothness filter is great if you want to just have things not be so stroby, you want the movement to be a little more fluid. You can apply this to the colors, and you can also apply this to the pan and tilt. You might want this off for pan and tilt. Great, so now our DMX fixtures are configured and tucked away in this ENTTEC group filter, and we can add the visualizer filter before it. So now I'm going to go into Edit Filters mode once more and get a visualizer. And finally, drag and drop it before the ENTTEC filter. Get out of Edit Filters mode and turn it on for the red, green, and blue, the pan, and the tilt. All right, so one last note. The value that is actually sent to all 512 DMX channels is the program's brightness value. So those red, green, and blue filters we were working with earlier actually output their red, green, or blue value on the program's brightness channel. And this is why you're going to want to put any additional filters before them, and as we did here at this higher level, before the ENTTEC filter, because otherwise you would be performing operations on the red, green, or blue values, and it wouldn't make much sense. However, you can do whatever you want, and if you achieve a cool effect with unusual transforms, I'd like to hear about it. At the moment, this version of AmbiSwitch with DMX support isn't generally available. However, I'm giving away a few license keys with the catch that I'd really like to see some videos of this in use. And remember, when you receive a license for AmbiSwitch, it's perpetual. There's no subscription, there's no automatic updates, so be sure to occasionally check the website. Good luck, and if you have a question or comment, leave it here or send it to me at moth@ambiswitch.com. Tim Mothy, get it? Don't forget to like and subscribe.
You're the night sky trying to make me see your stars, but the dark gets lonely. Now I see violet, I can feel silence. And the dark's all that I see when your stars have burnt out and your heart makes no sound. I'll find violet in your eyes. You'll always be my night sky. You'll always be my night sky. You're the night sky hiding behind dark gray clouds. I can't figure you out now. I see all blue. There is so much cold in you, and the silence is so loud when you go. I just stay dancing with my shadow all day. Watch the time. I can't find the point where to pass the line, but you're the night sky. I'm trying to see your stars, but I've always feared the dark. Now I see violet, I can feel your silence. You always feel so far when your stars have burnt out and your heart makes no sound. I'll find violet in your eyes. You'll always be my night sky.